Hi, everyone. It's been a little while. Let's see if I can get this in the right place. Don't show too much of that. All right. So, excuse me because I've been absent for a while. I've been working on myself. I've got the abs or the chest and the abs to show it. Um, I mean, we're sitting here with Richard wrapped up in the court stuff, and it's playing out really nicely because people are identifying themselves as Richard competitors, let's say. And it's actually really freaking awesome, right? Because those people who are not full into Hex and the philosophy of Hex have shown their colors. And not only have they shown their colors by saying, fuck Richard, if you ever hear that out of somebody's mouth, fuck Richard, they have been saving it for so long, like down here, and not communicating. And then finally, they go and do that. Can y'all hear me all right? Let me know in the comments. And maybe it is that you're on Twitter instead of YouTube and I may not be able to see your comment, whatever. So they might like be holding it down here, and it's been years that they've had it down there and they finally let it out. And this is a good thing. This is evolution. Um yeah, the prices where they are right now, if you want to, cash out and stuff, it's not a good time. But the world is constantly changing and we're still relevant. To timestamp what's happening right now in the world, uh, Russia has put battleships and submarines in our Cuba area. And if you've listened to me and had the if I've spilled it to you before, I think Cuba is the hugest outlier of how the world is controlled and we're just being manipulated. Because like, how do we have a base in Cuba and we hate their philosophies? It's so silly. um El Salvador is going further towards Bitcoin transactions, which is amazing. What else is going on in the crypto space? I've thought of a lot of things that I could be talking about, and I didn't write them down. And I just had a bourbon out at a restaurant, so I was checking my messages, and I saw that on my mailhex.xyz account on Twitter, somebody had asked me for some more cards and stickers. So I reached up and grabbed some envelopes, and I was like, this might be a good time to release some stuff. Um, but yeah, like we in the United States are on a election year, and so that's often the common topic. More stuff about COVID being and the vaccines being ill-advised are coming out, and so hopefully these people find themselves in a situation where they committed treason. Um, but there were things I wanted to say about crypto, and it wasn't about um, Andrew Tate releasing a coin called Daddy. It may have had something to do with all the coins everybody wanted to release. Everybody's releasing a coin now. Fashion Coder has a coin. I just saw DJ Pauly released a coin just like moments ago. Chris Side Effects released a coin just moments ago. I saw this stuff. Just anybody who had ambitions to make something and release it. I don't know. I guess it's just because it's time. Like, let's just go ahead and air it out. And I mean, like, I'm glad that you're taking up that token ticker. so that somebody in the future isn't able to use it, great. But what are we talking about? What am I have so many things to say, but I'm not saying, I'm not remembering them. Um, Fudge. But yeah, I took a step back, not only because the prices are a little bit down, it's because before the prices were going down, whenever it was that like they were questionable on the sustainability of them at the price, right? Price level, because that's what gets people's emotions. I received so much hate. And one time, whenever it was that I was told over the phone that I don't do anything for this community, by a very narcissistic person, and you know who you fucking are. Um, whenever I heard that, I wrote out a list of all the things that I've done for this community or attempted to do, all the things, and it hurts whenever it is that you're trying to help in any way possible, but somebody, instead of telling you how it is that you can help them, they sit there and bash you and bash you and bash you and bash you. And so and I'm not the most popular person. I'm not popular at all. Like every time somebody runs across me, it's the first time. Like anytime a service is offered, it's the first time somebody's heard about it. Um, but I've thought out the things that I've done, and I think that people can build, and that we can, like, my ideals and a lot of us early Hexicans has always been, let's get together and focus our purchasing power, our value into one ticker. Um, so here we are still. It's just that what I've been paying attention to lately has been stuff in my local vicinity that I kind of put on the back burner and I needed to get back to in order to allow it to still survive. Because I'm the type of person where I've got tons of irons in the fire. I've got tons of ideas in my head and in my sketchbooks, that are just continuing to develop. And there's only one person that's going to make that shit happen, right? Hey, Crypto King, good to see you. He says, "What's up, Hexicans?" Um, so I've been listening to the YouTubers that 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 I've always taken pieces of information from in order to compile an understanding of where we are, where our community is, and what the timing is. Um, Speaking of things that I've done for the community, these certificates right here. Yesterday on Maddie's show, which he called the Unfollowed Gang, which is kind of funny. He spoke about gifting out crypto to people in order to get their feet wet. And he was talking about physical coins, which was the first time that he had ever experienced that sort of thing. And the manufacturer of those coins, I believe, doesn't do that anymore. But I spoke to him in person actually during one of his conferences, and he said that there was always the concern that once the coin arrives at your place, you're not sure if anybody else has seen the seed phrases of that coin. So you might want to get into the coin, and or the wallet, and move the coins out. But never during the conversation that he and the three other guys, it was Toby, Briz, and Crispy, never during their conversation did they talk about like, hey, have it to where your onboards are meeting you halfway. So have it to where your onboard creates a MetaMask account and then they send you via email their address. That way, you know that they've done their education in figuring out what a wallet is and what an address is and how to do just a little bit of crypto. And then whenever you have an email, a new email from that person in your inbox, then you'll see that, oh, they've done the work. Okay, well, let me stake just like $5 worth of Hex and put it in an HSI to where then it's an NFT and you can send it to their wallet and they can't unstake it. They can. That tokenized stake can then be untokenized and unstaked, but huge penalties, whatever. Everything would be set to where they could just read the data off of that stake. And that way, you have already gotten them invested a little bit. And it wasn't much out of your pocket because these guys the other night they were saying like, don't send $100 to somebody that might not even be in crypto or like Richard was saying, hey, if you ever gift crypto to people, keep the seeds in case it is that the person's inactive or loses it or does something stupid and you have to save their ass. I totally understand because I've got my chiropractor. Some of you guys, if y'all have been on the Hex Foodies Hex Guild channel, you've seen my chiropractor. Every time a stake is about due, because she wrote it down in her planner, she'll give me a call and she'll say like, "Hey, we need to get together. I think my Hex stakes are coming up." And I'm like, lately I've been like, "Hey, well, whenever it is that you have your computer, or what was it? Whenever it is that you're next available to talk about it." Ooh, got him. There's a mosquito trying to get me. Go ahead and let's get on the phone and I'll just get into your account and do these things because it seems as though you're not interested in learning the stuff. I wrote a PDF in order to try to get people in there. And that's one of the things that I adore about what Crypto Wendy is doing. Or Whitney, I'm sorry, Whitney, because she's teaching people about crypto. She's teaching people confidence in the crypto sphere. She says that she's had like 10 rounds of classes now, and typically they're all females. She's over here in the Austin area, and very very outspoken about these courses that she offers. A lot of us have written PDFs in order to teach people these early steps of how to get into crypto. If you haven't written a PDF, then most likely your mindset in adaptation towards other people in the world isn't exactly the same as mine, I guess. And that's fine. You have your own way of teaching people, but a lot of people have gone out there and created things like Crypto Coffee. He created I think it's a $200 course where you can just learn everything about crypto. Dollar Cost Crypto, I think, has a course also. So there's tons of ways for folks to learn about crypto from people who have been in our community or are in our larger community. The mentioning the unfollow gang, that's something that's big that happened recently. Richard has, for you guys who aren't on Twitter, you may not know that Richard has unfollowed everyone. Richard has a big fat 0 on his on the following or the followers list. I guess that's the following. He gave an explanation saying like, hey, big guys that create things, they don't follow anybody. But also, he gave the explanation of if it is that he follows somebody, then his followers will see will get influenced by their feed based on what it is that he follows. So if you're following Richard, you might be influenced, your feed might be influenced by the people that Richard follows. So now that's out of there. Also, he said in a tweet that now people can't say, "Hey, I haven't done anything that Richard hasn't liked because I'm still followed by Richard. Therefore, whenever I go and talk about other tickers that aren't inside the Richard Hart ecosystem, the 4+1 tickers, um, then it must be okay because Richard still follows me. So go ahead and degen, I guess, into this or degen into that. So now that's gone out the window. And I'm great with that. But here's something also that's happened on Twitter. Elon Musk in the last day has said, okay, Twitter for now doesn't have it to where um, you can see who it is that has liked other people's posts, which actually brings me to recognize I'm pretty sure I still can. That's weird. So I'm going to have to look at that a little bit closer. But imagine all of the folks who like see something that's kind of like borderline on whether they want other people to know that they liked it or not, and then them just not clicking the like. So now they're going to click the like, and then so all you'll see is an overall amount of likes that a certain post has, and not be able to scroll through the people. Oh, I know that person, they liked this thing, because that inside of our community has been a huge thing. Totally huge thing. Retweets are still there, and obviously retweets have it to where you're the person retweeting it, bringing it to other people. I want to talk about some stuff that that Daraj pointed out, and I can't remember. So so it's really interesting to see what it is that the true core Hexicans have been doing, and and they're just staying the same. Is really what's going on. And what you're seeing is all these people who rushed in for the Pulse Chain or around the time of Pulse Chain. You're seeing them do all sorts of things, and they're enjoying themselves. And some people are saying, fuck Pulse Chain, I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna make my own chain. Okay, cool, sweet. What else? Oh, so I always like to talk about zodiacs, and I can know your tendencies a little bit based on your zodiac. And so then ego is a part of that, and it's really funny to see people's egos, boil up to the surface. Um guys, I don't know. Just learn who you are before you go and start fights or post shit on the internet that you might regret. I mean, like a lot of you, your egos shield you from having any fear on the internet. And what it is that a clip could be brought to you later and maybe embarrass you. I don't know. Like, I'm the type of person, I don't want to hurt anybody, first off. And I never want to tell somebody wrong. And if I do tell somebody something stupid that I thought was the truth, and this has happened to me, like with being duped by school or law or just anything around the town. If I ever say anything that's like, I don't know, if I ever find myself being stupid, it always haunts me. And instead of remembering the positives, I always remember that one little negative. When there's like 10 positives up here, that one little negative gets to me, and it turns my stomach. Um to each their own. It's just that, like, the saying that I used to always give everybody is, we're always watching. Us Hexicans, we're always watching. And y'all are just adding up a score sheet. um we want to believe in people's best sides, but often, just with a little bit of time, people change their face just a little bit, which means that you can never keep up the act that you've given us. um so what else, what else? So I'm pretty satisfied with Richard unfollowing everybody, because that's been an issue for a while. And then so that allows growth. Um, each individual is allowed growth from there. Um, and of course, like, you aren't to make Richard a god. You're just to respect his intelligence and his game plan. His path into the future. Um, I had just a little bit more, but I can't remember it. Oh, how about this? Hexologist has, in the times of the lower prices, Hexologist has come to the screen and said that, hey, somebody's got to man the steer. Somebody's got to man the wheel. Um, it's wonderful to have Hexologist back on the screen. Uh, it's wonderful to have his joyfulness, on the screen, entertaining us, because it's a great place to meet. It's a great place to throw jokes into the chat, hear the jokes from the chat. But he recently said that he's got Crohn's disease. I think that's what he said. When will you Hexicans realize that the Hex Guild and the Hex Foodies was created in order to give you a better, I don't know, a better stance in health? That's why it was created. It started out as Hex Foods Growers. It went to Hex Foodies. Now it's Hex Guild. Whatever we freaking call it, we're trying to teach people best practices. We don't want people to get their bank account inflated and have bad practices. This is the time that you should be getting your best practices out there. Get healthy. I mentioned in either a Hex Futures thing or a Hex Guild thing recently that two people in this time period that we're talking about, that we've been through lately, two people have come to the Hex Guild and have been served by us. because that's what we have interest in doing. That's what we like to talk about. And one of the guys, man, he's hardcore. He just talks about it all the time because it's a life change because the doctors couldn't fix him. So he's like, hell yeah, this changed my life. Hell yeah, I was in pain. Hell yeah, it hurt to shit. Excuse my language. Maybe I'll start doing these once a month because I got a lot to say whenever it is that we're away for a month. I told that narcissist, you know who you are. I told him, I'm not your punching bag. I'm not your hex punching bag. And that's what I feel like sometimes, guys. When it is that you can't reach Richard's ear, and the prices aren't doing what it is that you feel that you want them to do, which is obviously up and to the right. Which way is it? I'm a sensitive person. I'm an empath. Okay. I've got tons of patience, which means I'll study a subject for a long time. But if you send me crap, negativity, I'm going to digest it and then be better off on the other side, the flip side, the backside of the mountain. I'll see you when we meet up again, and I'll be a better person. It's just that I got to digest this stuff, and I have to understand why people have to be their way, I guess. But if you don't know zodiacs, there's 4 elements: water, air, earth, fire, and empaths are typically water. We're impressionable. So I wanted to say something more. I'm still sending out mail stuff if anybody's interested in that. Thanks so much to Maddie for allowing me to talk about hex postcards and mail stuff on the conference. Thanks so much to RG3 for recently allowing me to appear on the hex or the FN Hangout, which I mean anybody can arrive there, but I've been shilling the hex postcards Telegram and Patreon accounts, because how cool would it be if we automated the funding of hex postcards every month to continue to send out to new zip codes? So that's the patreon.com/hex postcards. $1 would be great. Thanks. But I had something else. And it was connected to maybe something that Daraj said and something about the narcissist. Oh, it wasn't. It was kind of related to the narcissist. The narcissist friend. Brandon, rags to riches. All right. I don't know what the Texan token's doing right now. Rags and Funding Gym and someone else. Excuse me for not remembering. KG? Yeah, probably. They did the Manette. The Connect, but with an M, Manette. And so they were doing stuff to where it could be outreach, right? So Funding Jim was saying the other day on, I guess, Maddie's thing, saying that he had talked to some high profile people and they already knew what Pulse Chain was. So that's freaking awesome, because we're getting exposure to the outside world. Because that's what we need to do right now. We need to be telling people outside of Pulse Chain about the products on Pulse Chain. Um, and so they did that outreach stuff, which is freaking awesome. And then also, Rags to Riches. I don't know where it is that his channel is. He created an R2R TV of some sort. I'm not sure where that is right now, so I need to check up on that. But that's definitely a very hard thing to do because you're paying people to do their own investigative reporting, but the par for the course, the bar has to be a certain level, because it's your reputation, and then you're asking somebody that may not be wanting to do that sort of thing, or maybe they feel as though they can't get a large enough audience, so they don't put too much into it. So that's a really hard thing. I know a little bit about that because of the Hex Futures stuff that I was attempting to do, um, on the YouTube channel. But yesterday, Rags to Riches had a Twitter space, and he read a little bit of George Orwell, and it was great reading. Thanks so much for doing that. And I forgot how many people were in the space, at least 30. But one thing that bothered me was that Rags said that he thinks that only a war can fix the problems that we have in this country, in this nation. Um, I don't like hearing that, and I don't like hearing that from an ex-serviceman either. So I'm holding out that it's not going to be like that. Um, but I'm in limbo myself. One side of me wants to travel the world, and one side of me wants to influence my local area. And just like my traction on the internet with you guys, um, the traction here in my local area isn't everybody. Instead, it's spotted to where it's almost like I give somebody permission to think outside the box, to think their different way. And that's just how my personality is. Things that I don't like to do is tell you guys all about myself and have it to where the stream or whatever, the audio is all about me. But I did want to start this out by saying, hey guys, I've been working out. I've been doing something that's called convict conditioning. Is the book over there? Got the book around here somewhere. Maybe I can get it off the shelf. Let me check this one. Yeah, there it is. Spend enough time over there, I'll figure it out. All right. So this book is called Convict Conditioning. It was brought to my attention by a Mormon who was like just 18, just leaving his parents' house, and went to that Montana commune that I talk about, which is Paul Wheaton's Wheaton Labs over outside of Missoula, Montana. If it is that you would like to have your shot at back to the land trades, you can check out stuff at permies.com. That's Permies, because we're permaculture people, so we're permies. Get it? So yeah, I met some young kid didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. Um, and he and I became friends. I flew into the place and he had driven into the place. So every once in a while I'd say like, "Hey, you want to go into town? I'll buy you something. Let's get out of here and let's go do something." And also both of our diets were still stuck on our old lives instead of fully adapting to the food that was available to us and the times and the amounts and stuff. So yeah, it was good to get away. Anyway, he told me about convict conditioning. He himself was not fit. So it's funny, like, he saw this thing, he saw the light but didn't take the path. And um I continue to remember that influence, the influence from yoga, that I witnessed there from another guy, there at the Wheaton Labs, and then also the influence from this convict conditioning. So why is it called convict conditioning? It's because it's stuff that you can do from your jail cell if you were in that situation, meaning all this stuff has to do with gravity. So it's your own body weight. And I'm still at stage 1, but my body is responding to it because stage 1 has it. The reason why I'm still on stage 1 is because you're supposed to do, I think it's 5 exercises 3 times each at 30 reps. And so it's taken me a long time to get around to being able to do 30 reps um, in a setting. So I'm gearing up to it, but there's that. And then also during this time, further away from my computer screen, because obviously sitting in this chair, sitting down is like one of the worst things that we can be doing all day. Sadly, if you're driving a car or sitting at a computer screen as a secretary or a draftsman like myself, um, we really need to change our lives, because it's really really unhealthy. And God forbid you had some ailment or some condition in your life that made it to where it makes it even worse, because my psoas, is that how you say that? The tendons that wrap up through your butt and into your back from your thighs, that's hell on earth for me, man. Like I've got back issues all the time. um so you're not alone if you're experiencing that. But what I wanted to get to saying is, oh, running is something that I used to always do and always be good at. My mother, she would do long distance running, or she would swim. And so maybe a lot of my athleticism comes from that side of the family, but my dad's not too shabby either. Um, I was a hell of an athlete in school, and then gave it up whenever I went to architecture school. And gosh, it was hard to stay fit, let's say, in college, all the late night hours in architecture and stuff. But my parents, they don't speak much, and I'm unmarried, and so talking to my parents, there's a lot of it. Um, and so my mom said something a few years back that I hope I never forget, because I need to pass this on to my kids. And what that was that the negativity that gets inside of our bodies and finds a home inside of us, it needs to be flushed out. We need to get exercise to move those lymph nodes. Do y'all know where your lymph nodes are? We have them all over our body. and they're capturing toxins, but they need to be flushed out, and the way that you do it is by moving your body. So I recognized that I needed to get my lymph nodes cleared out a bit, and and all this stuff, like the hate that I receive, and the Twitter scrolling, where like I'm huge trying to be a patriot, attempt to be a patriot. I am. And so like I'm just like, oh, that's injustice. That's injustice. That's injustice. And it really gets to me. And it's just like, why don't people recognize this so that we can actually do something all together about this? Either that, or individuals, don't take exactly my words here, but individuals should take responsibility. If you're over the age of whatever, save our fucking country. Like, with your life, give your life for our country, getting rid of the domestic problems that we have, is what I'm saying. Not saying, not saying. So, the negativities that get inside, I can feel the release after going for a run, and you don't even have to go for that long of a run. My recommendation for running is actually to walk and then sprint, and then walk and then sprint. But lately I've just been getting back into the motion of it, and so some jogging and stuff, and just see what I can do, see what my lungs are happy to take in. See how, I don't know, silly I look. No, I'm not worried about that. See what my shoes can take. Let's say that, because I need new running shoes. It's been a while. So get out there and get some exercise, clear out your lymph nodes, feel better, remind yourself of a younger you. Shit, my birthday is coming up. I'm about to turn a year older, and I'm just going to stop counting the numbers, because the years are flying, guys. Those years just go. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm going to build my body to a point where I never have seen it before. Not even whenever I was a captain of a football team in high school. I am going to sculpt my body. I'm already to the point where it's level with what I was in high school, but it's going to go a little bit further, and it's all going to be based on the convict conditioning, plus a little bit of creating a jungle gym in the backyard. So I've got some standing trees that I've girdled, and so now they're standing dead. That means that I've taken the outer layer, down at the base of it. I took the outer layer out so that it couldn't grow or survive anymore. So it's just a standing dead tree, multiple of them. Put some 2x4s, screw them in between, and now you've got a jungle gym, and then you've got a pull-up bar, and then you've got a dip bar. So that's going to be some fun stuff, or it's going to continue to be fun as long as I can avoid these mosquitoes, like the one that was flying around earlier. It's probably already sucked my blood on camera and then taken off. Whodats in the house, Facing Realities in the house. Facing Realities, good point. Need to get off my ass. Yeah. Yeah, I'm about to be a year older. It's coming soon. And the reason why I wanted to hop on this and just say something, show my face, whatever, is because I haven't been on for a while, and I had a bourbon with a burger earlier today. I hosted myself. Who Dat says, let's see the ink price 30x from here. Totally. That would be what, $75? Big pimpin'. What's up, Hex Monkey? Says, what's up, gang? All right, guys. If you would like to let me know an address, I could send you these, or I could send you the file. These are certificates that you can give to people in your local area in order for them to report back to you whenever it is that they have a MetaMask wallet and know their address, and they send it to you in an email. And then you're able to send them crypto, so you meet them halfway instead of wasting crypto whenever you're onboarding folks. And then, of course, I've got the normal onboarding tools. And I guess that's it. All of us original Hexicans are still here. And just think of everything as waves in, waves out, waves in, waves out. Think of it as the beach, because some things are going to stay. They're going to find a home. They're going to stay. And some things are just going to go right back out in the ocean. You're never going to see them again, or maybe you'll see them again soon. But whatever the case, it's not your problem. So yeah, I guess that's what's happened to me. Is I'm an empath on the internet, exposing myself to everything that could come my way. And I've had it to where like people have chased my IP to my house. They've shown me pictures of my sister. They sent me a fucking pineapple pizza while I'm live streaming. You know, I've hosted meetups and stuff. We did Hex on a Bridge one time, which was, I think that's the coolest thing. And I still have flags, the Hex on the Bridge flags. So in case it is that you've never heard of this, let me go real fast. Let me be right back. All right, the thing with Hex on a Bridge: hang flags over the edge of a bridge with QR codes in order to tell people to check out Hex. I think it's a great idea. So you've got tons of people that are in their car, and typically on a Saturday afternoon, they're not alone. So their passenger is already on their phone. So they're ready and willing to look up, what is this Hex thing? What are they talking about? And then you've got a flag that's colored the Twitter stuff. And of course, that's Meet Kevin, because Meet Kevin did some Richard Hart interview, thought he was going to be hard on Richard. So these people, time is at their disposal while they're going underneath an overpass in traffic. Like they're going bumper to bumper. So it's very safe for us to be up over the top of them, giving them a message. So that's Hex on a Bridge. And we'll do that again sometime. But the places that we did it was Houston and Austin thus far. And we were looking for places in San Antonio and Dallas. And that's inside the Texas group. So t.me/Hex Texas, if you want to be a part of the Hex Texas Telegram group. We've been talking a lot about the Texas nationalist movement lately and the Texas economy, what that would look like if it is that that new stock exchange sets up in Texas. Have y'all heard about that? But yeah, like we already got Tesla and Elon Musk. Like I think that's kind of I think that's a little bit of like a planned situation that, you know, I want more natives who think about the people of Texas more than just the opportunities in law at Texas, um, but I'm also that type of person who like tries to romanticize everything, and I need to get with the times and be more of a user. Um, like clean the slate, let the next person in, sort of person. All right, guys. I hope the audio has been fine. I hope you guys have been well. I have been neglecting the meetup.com stuff and the permies.com stuff because I've got a thread out at Permies, and then the meetup.com, I have an organized group. I'm the organizer, but also there's a Bitcoin group that meets every Tuesday night, and I've been neglecting that as well. And so those guys, I'm sure, would like to hear from me. Paul Snow is the organizer of that. He's been in Bitcoin for a very long time. He's not what you would call, or at least he claims he's not a Bitcoin millionaire. And that's what it looks like based on where he streams from. But he's had a lot of Bitcoin at several times in his life, but he's used it for what it's supposed to be used for, he says, right? Instead of hodling it, he did exchanges with it. He did transactions, paid for travel, and paid for developers and stuff, because he too had his idea of coinage or blockchains. Yep. So another thing is the women. Let's keep cheering on the women. Let's keep recognizing the women who are coming to crypto and who are, in our vicinity, because they have a special way of presenting things to people and communicating with folks and staying positive and having that feminine touch and the aesthetic, like, I guess half the guys are in their 20s, and they just want a breath of fresh air and a lot of money to come with it, And then there's people like myself who are in crypto for the liberty movement. Like, we want financial freedom. We want to do away with the corruption. That's why I love Hex so much, is because you stake your Hex and you get more Hex out after you unstake it. And for people to ask me to build inside of a society that its foundation of money is flawed, it doesn't settle me well, because I have built in many places where my foundation was only temporarily allowed anyway, like a rent house, right? You don't want to put too much work into a rent house, because things can happen and you could be kicked out. And then what if it is that, financially things happen with you and you don't want the place anymore, or you can't afford the place anymore? So goodbye all the updates, all the things that you've spent your time on manicuring that to be your baby. So let's be nice to the women, and let's promote the women, bringing more women around, because we know that ratio can be worked on, of course, but they add a totally different perspective, and they are the rest of society. We're wanting society to come in. Like, come on, guys, the water's fine. Got any chicks over there? Because, like, chicks are half of society. No, we don't got chick. Oh, well, You dog friendly? No, we aren't dog friendly. We got to accept everyone to come in here and learn. And hopefully our governments will allow it to be acceptable, you know? Um, I think my last Hex Futures, I had AI stuff reading out one of Richard's tweets, and maybe that's what I should do is go over Richard's tweets with the SEC stuff. But every time I talk about like maybe that's what I should do, I end up not doing that. It's kind of just an idea that I volley off and hoping that somebody else will do it. Because if I really had the enthusiasm to do it, I would just do it and post it and be done with it. Don't you like those ideas that like you explaining it is all the energy you really want to give it? But that's not the case here. Not exactly. I really do think that people need to have the updates. And then also we need to be time stamping these things so that in the future, whenever it is that we receive all sorts of comments from folks, you should have done this. Why didn't you do that? Were you thinking this? Were you thinking that? We can break it down better. Like, well, this was how the environment was. This is how the ambiance was. Okay, I need to get off here and shut up so you guys can go and do your thing. Happy summer for everybody in the north. Talk to y'all later. Eco Builder signing out. Get in touch with me if you want some mail. Cheers.